What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto from ESPN, joined by UFC bantamweight title challenger Kayla Harrison, who just fought at UFC 300 back home. And the first thing I want to ask you is, you had said in the press conference afterwards, you're I can't believe it's over already. I just, it feels
Yeah.
like it happens so fast, and now you're
Yeah.
back home, sitting on
Yeah.
your own couch. It looks like.
Yeah.
The whole week, was it just a blur? I mean, you wait so
Yeah.
long for something, and then it's then you're back on your couch, and you got a win under
I
your belt.
know. It went so fast. It really did. It's crazy. I kept trying to tell myself, like, be present, like, just, like, enjoy kind of, because I feel like for so many moments of my athletic career, I was just wanted to get there so fast. And so this time specifically, I was really focused on being present and just enjoying the journey, the good parts and the bad parts. But yeah, the fight went really fast. I literally couldn't believe it when it was over and I was like doing media. I was like, wait, wow, that's it. We're done. It's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously the result was terrific, and we'll talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that. But was there anything about the what was the biggest difference? I mean, you've been doing this sport for a while now, but this was done obviously in a very different way. What was the biggest difference?
I mean, obviously just the crowd, that there was quite a few people there. Even though I was on the prelims, there was still already quite a few people in the crowd. So that was different. And I think the level of professionalism, like everything is just so buttoned up, and the UFC staff from top to bottom, super kind, welcoming, like on point, professional. Um, I just had a great experience. I really enjoyed all of it I mean, except maybe like, that last pound. Pretty much everything else was really enjoyable.
Yes, and I did think that maybe that's what your answer would be, is what was the biggest difference? Well, it was 136 pounds.
Yeah,
Um,
that 20 pounds was a little different.
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. And so I was going to ask, right?
Yeah.
You, throughout your career, have never shied away from talking about anything. You
Yeah.
talk about your past, you talk about
Yeah.
confidence, you talk about everything, the good, the bad, the
Yeah.
ugly, and that's
Mhm.
terrific. So tell me all about that last pound. How was it
It was pretty
really?
rough. No, it was rough. I mean, I messed up. Like I got down to 137 on Thursday night, 136.8. And I went back to the room. Eric Pena from my weight cut specialist gave me some fruit. Um, and then I even told him, I was like, see, this is where they messed up, but I messed up. I was like, hey, I want you to stay in my room Thursday night because I'm like scared. Like, I'm going to like zombie walk and drink a gallon of water. I'm just like, let's leave no room for error, you know? So, like, I want you to stay with me. Like, my best friend Kayla was there as well. And we get back to the room, and I'm obviously uncomfortable. I don't like, you just don't feel good. Your body feels like you can't get comfortable. You have no butt like to lay on. It just is like it's not an enjoyable experience. And so we go back to the room. I shower and I come out and they're all gone. They like all went out to eat or something. I don't know what the hell they did. And my strength coach Jeremy was there too. And anyways, I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna have a little sip of water to take my melatonin so that I can sleep good because I need to sleep good so I can float this pound. And I took a sip. And I was like, one more sip. It's not going to hurt. And then, boom, the whole water was gone.
Oh
And I
my
was like,
God. Yeah.
yeah. So I woke up still a pound over. I floated a pound, but if I hadn't drank that water, I probably wouldn't have had to cut the pound in the morning. And I didn't sleep at all. It didn't help. So that last pound was tough. It took a while to start sweating. Then, like, because it was taking so long to start to sweat, I was getting nervous. Like, I'm like, is it gonna like how much longer? I was like asking every 5 minutes, how much longer? And my weight cut, Eric was like, Kayla, just surrender, like just surrender to the process. And that's what he needed to say. That's what I had been telling myself throughout the entire camp, was like just to surrender to the process. But I knew it was bad because my judo coach, Big Jim, who I've talked about a lot, he's very old, very, very old school. Like I've had a herniated disc in my neck, and he's been like, shut up, you're fine. So
Yeah.
I knew it was bad when he was like, hey, can we get her out of there and check her weight? She looks like she's gonna die.
Yeah.
Like I'll break you out of there, kid. Let's go. So um yeah, all in all, not the most pleasant experience, but totally worth it. Yeah.
Was I mean, because of like the high profile nature of you cutting down, like was the commission involved at all? Like were they monitoring you at all? Was anybody like, no, huh?
No, I think that um well, I think people on the PI staff were like, obviously Charles from the PI. There were a lot of people who were behind the scenes heavily involved in making sure that it was done in an appropriate, healthy manner. And I wasn't just like trying to lose 30 pounds in 1 week.
Mhm.
So, everyone was checking in, and yeah.
Part of the fight week process is like you check in and you give them your weight. Was there
Mhm.
any reactions? Were there any like eyebrow raises, or was it about like on par with what they've seen?
I think it was probably on par with what they've seen. Nobody said anything to me. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming that means they weren't shocked.
Mhm. What felt better? What felt better? The commission saying what the number's 136 pounds or the Joe Rogan interview? Which one felt better?
Oh, man. Well, I don't get the Joe Rogan interview if I don't make 136 pounds. So,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, yeah, it was just a really magical week, wasn't it? Like a lot of firsts, a lot of highs. I feel really grateful and blessed to be on this journey. And I do feel like I'm in the right place at the right time. But thank God they said 136.
Yeah.
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 Thank God.
Can you tell us, because I mean, I see you guys do this all the time, but I can't really obviously describe it. What is it like to rehydrate then? I mean, what is that process like? Because then you said on the night of that you weighed 100, you were up to 160 pounds again. So like, how are
Yeah.
you feeling and what do you do over the course of
Yeah.
that
I
24
felt
hours?
great. I like couldn't believe it. That's also the key, right? Like that nobody really thinks about, and that these guys have all gotten down to a real science. Like, so I actually, when I cut in the morning, I got down to 138 point, or not 138, 135.4 or something. So like Eric had me get on the scale in my underwear and drink back up right then before we even
Mm,
went to the official weigh-in. So he had me start drinking, and then I had four different shakes, like one, and I don't know exactly what's in them. Like one was amino, one was coconut something, one was carbs and electrolyte something, and one had like caffeine. There are four of them. And I'm like ready to start guzzling, I'm ready to like start chugging. And I have to sip
mm,
on it. So I sip on these four shakes for the first 2 hours, I think, 2.5 hours. And only after I finish the rehydration shakes do I have my first meal. So, and then it's water and like if you want coffee or whatever, but really just, and it's all like the clean stuff that I was eating. Like I didn't get to go eat a burger right away like I really wanted to. Um, but yeah, I mean, they have it down to a science. I couldn't believe how good I felt. Like no, not a cramp, not a pinky toe cramp, nothing. And I was just like, how is this possible? Like it's mind boggling to me. Like it really is.
yeah,
I
I
felt
can't.
great.
That's mind-boggling to me too, that you can do that and then feel great after it, like shortly thereafter is
Yeah.
pretty
I mean,
amazing.
literally within a few hours, I felt okay again.
Hmm.
And by the next day, like by the next night, I felt like it hadn't even happened. Like, except in my mind, I was like, oh no, I remember that. Like, I don't want to go back there.
That is so insane.
What was the weirdest thing to me was as soon as I weighed in and I took a drink, I started sweating. Like, I don't know if my body was just like reacting to being overwhelmed or whatever, but I started sweating and I was like, what the? You couldn't have done this an hour ago for me? Like,
You would
I
think that your body wouldn't sweat for like the next 2 weeks after
yeah,
something
there's
like
like
that because it
nothing
would just
left
want to
in it.
cling to its water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm not a scientist, but
neither
they
am
make
I.
it work.
That is absolutely wild. Another thing you said at the press conference is that there were times during the camp, and I think this is pretty normal, right?
Mhm.
Where like you kind of go through it and you're like you're confident, and then there are other times you're like, oh man, what am I doing? I can't do this, you know. And
100%.
when it got to fight week, Was there ever moments like that where you're just like, oh man, dude, I don't know. Like maybe this is going to be totally different. Maybe this is Holly Holm. Like I saw what happened with Ronda
Yeah.
Rousey when she fought
Yeah.
her. Like, was there any moments like that during the fight week?
Yeah. Definitely. Um, by the time I got to fight week, I believed that I was going to make weight. And then because most of the camp, I mean, training went so good. Like my camp was so good. I was like in really good shape. Everything felt great. I was worried about the weight during camp, even though I tried to pretend like I wasn't. I was really worried about the weight. And I just felt like everything was working really well. So I wasn't super worried about it being Holly Holm. And then we got to fight week and I was like, oh fuck, this is Holly Holm. Like, and then I started to have that roller coaster of emotions where it was like, just feel like, what if I get head kicked? What if I get knocked out in front of the whole world? What if? And that's where your kind of your mental reps really have to come into, like, that's when you lean heavy on them. For me, where it's like I have visualized over and over and over again every night me, like putting an elbow through her forehead, and like I just have to go back to that and go back to my mantra and talk myself kind of off the ledge.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How'd you feel right before you walked out?
It was so good. It was like very yeah, very like in the zone. Like just like everything was so clear and calm and I was so peaceful and like, yeah, it was really good. It was great.
If you had asked me like to speculate on all the different things that could have happened in this fight, um, you know, Holly has sent, I mean, obviously there were some things that happened in the fight that were strange, or unpredictable, I would
Yeah.
say. And then she comes out and she said, I don't know what happened. I didn't follow my game plan. Like I didn't do anything that I meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what? How? Like you're Holly Holm. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a kickboxer, you're a boxer, you're a multiple-time
Mhm.
world champion in different sports. Like, how does that happen that
Yeah.
you forget what your entire game plan was in the very first round? Like, what do you
Yeah.
make of that? Because you are also a lifelong competitor. That to me was just like, how does that happen to someone like Holly Holm, where she knows what she's supposed to do and does the exact opposite of it? Like, do you believe her? What do you make of that?
Yeah, for sure. I believe her. I mean, I don't think she's got anything. I think that I have had moments like that where you just kind of like, for whatever reason, you have an off night, like you just things don't connect. You're very disconnected and sort of like disassociated from your body. I mean, I've definitely had that happen to me in competition before. You have to get really good at making that not happen. And I think that she is. I'm sure that I know that she is, but it's also, I don't know, man. Like I think that it was my night. I
Mhm.
think that it was my night, no matter what, even if she had stuck to the game plan. So that's sometimes you can't beat that.
I'd be curious to know if the same way that you were like, oh, that's Holly Holm, that maybe she was a little nervous, that maybe that elbow that you had
Maybe.
visualized putting through her, maybe she had visualized that as well. Because it says maybe nerves, because I
Yeah,
just like I
maybe.
was so confused by that first round, at least
I
her
know, me
tactics
too.
were.
No, I was confused by I was like, I had pictured over and over again in my mind her using her footwork and her distance and pretty much like not running, but like I was picturing having to chase her and cut
Yeah.
off the cage and not run. Like you remember when Rhonda came at her and she like ducked under it and Rhonda fell on her
Hmm.
knee. Like I was
Hmm.
like, you can't chase, you can't chase, you can't
Hmm.
chase. Like that's what I was picturing over and over and over in my mind. And so when she got in the middle of the cage and she kind of stood her ground, I was like, oh, like it kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
And then I landed a punch and I was like, oh, I'm I'm in an MMA fight. Like,
Yeah.
let's go. And then she reversed me after I threw her. And I was like, no, I'm really in an MMA fight. Like, let's go. Let's
I would
go.
that was going to be my next question, is that you are very hard on yourself and you also have a good sense of humor. Like what was going on in your mind when you got
I was
reversed?
just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Mhm.
But I mean, I knew, to be fair, I also could feel um how physical I am, like in
Mhm.
comparison. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, like she couldn't hold me down if I had like she couldn't there's nothing that could hold me down right now. She can't hold me down. So I knew I was going to get up and get back to good position as long as I just stayed composed and didn't like give her my neck or do something stupid, you know? So, but yeah, I was pissed. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, Kayla. Like,
I gotta believe after that first round when you went to your corner, you had to be feeling pretty good. Did you feel like
yeah, I felt good. I felt really good. I was like, I'm gonna finish her this round.
yeah? I mean, if I would think like just don't get caught because like you said, if you're physical and you felt her strength and
Mhm.
you're like I can outmaneuver her, like
And I
just don't.
didn't feel tired, which I obviously with the weight cut, I was a little worried. Like, am I gonna be tired? What's gonna happen? I've been training so hard, but if you deplete your body, like there's gonna be repercussions. But I didn't feel tired. My lungs felt great. I felt great. It was a miracle.
You and Ali, well, it's good preparation too. You and Ali had talked about this weight cut, this practice cut that you had made prior to agreeing to this, but I felt like you were kind of subtly, you never answered how low you actually went. How low did you actually go
I got to
during the practice?
140. I got to
140.
140.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's good enough.
Okay.
We're good.
So there was
Well, to be
definitely,
fair, all happened so fast. Like it was right after Christmas. I had been in Ohio. Like then I get offered this opportunity, and I was like, oh my God. So we did a 4-day diet and then a cut.
Mhm.
And I lost like 17 pounds or something during that period between the sauna and I hadn't been training and I had just had my knee scoped. And so I was just like, it was not the best of circumstances to figure out. I went out on a limb here. Like I had faith that this was what I was supposed to do. I just really felt called, like, this is why I started MMA. This was the reason when I first started MMA, this was the goal for me, was to be UFC champion. And I'm very happy with everything I've done in my career. I'm beyond blessed and grateful for all the opportunities I've had. And I just felt like there was one more thing for me. There is one more thing for me to do. And if I was going to do it, it was going to be now, you know?
Yeah.
So I took a leap of faith and I did not know if I could I haven't weighed 135 pounds since I was 16 years old. That was
Mhm.
the last time I weighed 135 pounds.
Yeah.
So yeah, but God is good.
Once Amanda Nunes came out and put out a video, you were going to get a million questions about it. The biggest thing I want to know about is did that surprise you, or knowing Amanda in the way you do? Like,
It
is
didn't
that something
surprise
you would
me.
expect?
No, it didn't surprise me. I wasn't sure what she was going to say or do, but I expected something for sure.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
why? What makes you expect that?
Um, because I think that it's hard to walk away from the spotlight. And I think that, I mean, listen, I suffer from the same ego as she
Mhm.
does. Like we are cut from the same cloth.
Mhm.
Um, and it's hard to walk away. So if she's having doubts about that, or if she's feeling some type of jealousy or whatever, like, yeah, I expected her to say something. I didn't
I
know
know
if
you've
she
been.
was gonna say, like, I'm ready to come back, or if she was gonna say like, you suck. I wasn't sure what she was gonna say, but
Hmm. I've never really asked you about this because honestly, there was no need to. I know you've been asked about it before, but how much have you guys actually really, really trained together? I know you told TMZ at one point that you sparred on like your second day of MMA training, but
yeah.
beyond that, how familiar with each other are you?
I mean, we never sparred after that first sparring session. We never sparred again after that. I would come in and help her if she had a fight. Like if she was training for someone and she needed me, I would come in and be a body, be whatever she needed, righty, lefty, you know, drilling dummies, punching bag. I would come in and because I just wanted to get better and I wanted like soak up that. It's very different to go with a top female than to train with a male, and at our level and at our weight, even there's not a ton of females to train with. So, I would anytime, like, they would, if they say 10 o'clock at night, I'd be there. Like,
Mhm.
But I mean, we weren't like, if she didn't have a fight, she wasn't training. So it wasn't like we were training together every single day.
Mhm. And that was all the way through the end of her career. That was, you were helping her up all the way through
Hmm.
those camps.
Yeah. I just come from a very different background. Like it doesn't matter. Like I just want to keep growing and keep raising the level and keep bringing out the best. And for me, it's not like a scarcity thing. Like there's enough for all of us. There's plenty to go around, and like you win some, you lose some. You train hard, you put your best foot forward, and like you go out with respect, you give it your all, and whatever happens happens. Like so I don't
Yeah.
know.
And that goes along with your goal that you want to be the best fighter in the world. And so I'll ask you, do you feel like you are? You know this
Yes.
sport. You're in there with everybody. You feel like you are the best female fighter on the planet.
Yes, I do. I do feel like that. And I feel like um I'm finally on a path where I can do that and not be dependent on other people and other fighters. I can just go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The last thing I would want to ask you about is this happened actually before the fight, and that is that Raquel Pennington said what she said, and then your response to her was, "I would be scared if I were you too."
Mm-hmm.
And my question to you, Kayla, is that I know that you're not bad at cutting a promo, and you're not bad at creating a headline. Do you actually think she is nervous about a fight with you, or was that more of like a,
You
you
didn't
do
hear
think it's a good
Raquel's hurt
headline?
now. She can't fight for a while.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
I heard that. I heard she's out of the next quarter. She's not gonna be able to fight for quite a bit.
Mm.
Not surprised.
Okay. So what do you think that means for you?
I mean, I think that my time is now. I would love to fight for an interim title and then go ahead and unify those titles when she's all better.
Okay. So you and Juliana Pena for an interim title?
Anybody, I mean, yeah, sure. Juliana, whoever. Yeah, let's get it done.
How so final thing, how frequently can you fight? Making this cut? How many times a year can you fight, do you think?
We'll find out. Probably not four, but I mean, probably three, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some people like they don't want to make that cut and maybe they feel like it's hard on their bodies or something, but like you don't feel any kind of lasting lingering effects of it, obviously. You said you felt great. So
I
you
mean,
plan
the
on
lasting effects are mental, where I'm like, I walk past a piece of, and I have to put it in my mouth. And I'm like, Kayla, you're not even hungry. Like, why are you like, all day today, I've been like, oh, look at that. Oh, cheese and crackers. Oh, and I'm like, you are literally not hungry. Why are you putting this in your mouth right now? And I can't stop. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much the only lasting effects for me so far. Thankfully, I have to work on my mental discipline when it comes to.
I don't know, man. You can't go down 100 to 135 pounds without mental discipline. And I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I mean, I
Thanks so
know
much.
that you've been through, I mean, obviously you've had a great career. You've also had some frustrating stuff, some politics stuff, and
Yeah.
wondering where it was going to go. And so
Yeah.
the fact the fact that you the fact that you did make your debut at UFC 300, maybe it
Yeah.
was just meant to be.
I
So
think so. I know. I've been frustrated a lot and I have had doubts and like definitely was really unsure about what was going to happen in my career and had to kind of come to peace with the fact that maybe I wasn't going to get to do everything I wanted to do. Um, but I'm really happy and I'm really grateful. I do feel like everything happened just the way it's supposed to, and that I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people doing the right things. So thanks, Brett. That
awesome.
means a lot.